What up, YouTube? Knowledge is self-determination. So I was watching a video by Phil from the Advice Show. In fact, I'm gonna go ahead to his channel right now. And this video was talking about the slave trade that is going on in Libya right now. Now, as most of you guys already know, Libya is a North African nation that was once ran by President Muammar Gaddafi. Now, Americans have a huge misconception for who Muammar Gaddafi was, and it's sad that this is the state of Libya after Muammar Gaddafi died. Now the slave trade is running rampant in Libya, because it's probably the people who were opposed to Muammar Gaddafi in the first place who were hired by the U.S., probably typically the CIA, to continue to wage war against Muammar Gaddafi so that America could run on with the narrative that Gaddafi's killing his own people, right? So, now, this story, now every CNN, Telegraph, UK, SBS, one day ago, and it's already over 1 million hits for this. Already 1 million hits for this story about the slave trade in Libya. These people are living in horrible conditions. These people are leaving their homes, migrating north to Libya because of the conditions that they're forced to live in their home countries. You know, a lot of their home countries are being torn apart by warfare, by shifty, shady governments whose power and control are being usurped from them, from European nations who do just like the CIA does, basically go in and take over the country. There are a number of things that happen so far as countries going in and taking control of other countries. And actually, Phil did an interview with an Ethiopian gentleman the other day, and maybe I'll play the soundbite to what they said about how the CIA goes into quote-unquote third world countries, approach the leadership, you know, and basically try to sell them on all this bullshit, basically to get them in debt. It's the old Rothschild trick. If you guys don't know about the Rothschild family, look them up, man. Hundreds of years ago, they started going around the world. They were lending money to royalty, lending money to countries, getting you in debt because the interest is so fucking high. You could never begin to pay off the interest. You can never pay. You can never pay off the principal because the interest is so high. That's what I meant to say. And that's how the Rothschilds started to gain a foothold into other countries. Literally playing Monopoly with real life, with real people and real money. And it's sad and it's sick that Gaddafi was demonized the way that he was. Now, just recap real quick.
Come with whatever you have. And I don't know if you've read a book by this CIA operative for many, many years. When he left the CIA, he wrote Confessions of an Economic Hitman. It talks about how there are two wings of the CIA. One wing is the peacemakers. They pretend they are there to make peace, and they go and try to impoverish the country by making them buy things they can't afford. If you are a leader, you have to buy a limousine, you have to buy a Rolls Royce, you have to buy an airplane, you have to have a private jet, then you have to have a big one, 747, so that you can go with your entourage. And so they keep on buying these things. Then they tell them, okay, why don't you build this? And the idea is to saddle the country with debt so that they'll never be able to come out of debt. That means they are always going to be looking up to the United States, to Europe, to England for all kinds of help. And what do the country produce? They may produce rice, they may produce spices, they may produce coffee, anything that you produce, they take it in exchange for whatever that they give you. And the best is arms. If they can get you to fight with your neighbor, then they start a war. That means instead of selling you a tractor, which could work for 20, 30, 50 years, they'd rather give you a tank. And that tank would be blown in the war And then you have to order another tank and another tank. And so that's more lucrative business for them. Sadly, this is the situation. And then you have those leaders that refuse to buy these things, that refuse to go along with the peacemakers. When you don't listen to them, you know who they send? They send the jackals. So the other branch of the CIA is the jackals, and the jackals will then try to eliminate the leader who refused to buy and build things that he cannot afford. And this guy who wrote this book was trying to sell Torrijos of Panama, General Torrijos, all these things, and Torrijos refused. And he said, I felt bad because I have now to send the jackals. Within a few days, General Torrijos was dead. I think they put a bomb or something in one of the airplanes that he was using, and it just exploded in the air, and they get rid of you. So this is a sinister way where exploitation goes on, even though you may not call it a colony. Many of these third world countries are being exploited in every way you can think of.
Now, just recap real quick. Let's just recap real quick. When Gaddafi was the president of Libya, Libya had no crime, had an 85%, 90% literacy rate. He had obliterated homelessness. Every citizen in Libya had a home. He dedicated his life to helping to support his people and to take care of his people, right? And I'm just paraphrasing some of the things he did in his own country. Now, I mean, free healthcare, free education. Education was top notch. He also wanted to create a central bank in Africa based on the gold standard, right? Based on the gold standard. The gold dinar. He was trying to consolidate the different African nations, the different African leaders, to pull their resources in order to fund these national banks of Africa. Now, had the gold dinar actually been able to be put into place, it would have bankrupted the Rothschilds' Federal Reserve System, completely bankrupted. The world economy would have been turned on its head. At least those economies that were enslaved by the Rothschilds' financial group, the Federal Reserve, and he was murdered. Barack Obama gave the okay to do this. Hillary Clinton was happy about the fact that she killed this man, even though he was doing great things for his country. And now we look at it X amount of years later. Now look at the state of things in Libya. Now look at the people that Muammar Gaddafi was trying to help. Look at what happened. Look at all the people that Muammar Gaddafi was trying to help. Look at everything that he was trying to do for the people in Libya, for the people in Africa, period. Now, I don't know how many of you guys are aware of these things, but African people, black people across the world continue to be mistreated by everybody. Jamaica, Haiti, numerous countries in Africa, just all over the fucking world, and especially in America. We need to come together as a cohesive unit. Yes. And before I get into what I was about to say, I did a story about the UN and their sexual violations to young women in Haiti during times of crisis. Reports. I got this out of the Final Call. It's a black publication. It's the Nation of Islam publication. And I mean, in all honesty, if you really want truth about things that are happening in the world and this country, I still say black media is the way to go. Black media is the way to go. But so I did that. I did a story I did a video on that story in particular. Black people are being mistreated all over the world. And it's time that we stand up and come together and do something about this. Yeah, I'm making a video. And for any smart ass out there who say, oh, you just a dude on the video talking shit, telling people what they should do. Now, I'm not going to give too many details because everything isn't finalized yet. This is actually in the infancy phase, but me and my partners are doing something, and I'll just leave it at that. Once it's fully launched, you know, I will have videos of what we're doing, the projects that we have lined up, and I will also omit audio of a lot of our meetings and things that we discuss, and I'm putting our heads together. And once we actually get this particular group and or organization off the ground, you know, a lot of these events and things will be videoed. But once it's off the ground and we got the corporate, everything corporate set up and names copywritten and things trademarked, then and only then will I release that information to the public. Because let's be honest, if you don't have your shit copywritten and trademarked, you're pretty much just giving it away for fucking free, basically. But just for anybody who was asking, and I'm not just blowing fucking smoke, these things are about to happen. These things are about to come to pass. You know, because I want to help my people. I want to give back in any way that I can. You know, talk is fucking cheap. But we do a lot of talking in America. We do a lot of talking in America. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's talking about how fucking tough you are, what you're willing to do, what you won't do, blah, blah, fucking blah. You know what I mean? Talk is fucking cheap. You know what I'm saying? I want to see shit happen. And unfortunately, sometimes the only way to see shit happen is is to make shit happen. But this is sickening. And I don't understand why there isn't more of an I mean, yes, 1.74 million hits, sure, for a Google search. But is the world really jumping on this like it should? Are these slave auction rings being broken up? I mean, women are still sold as sex slaves in this world. I mean, children are being sold in the child pornography rings. We know that's happened in Africa too, with some of these Christian groups going into Africa, you know what I'm saying, supposedly adopting these African kids and then selling them in the fucking child pornography rings and shit like that. The world is ran full of sick motherfuckers. And that's another thing that I wanted to jump onto real quick. That's another thing. This brother here watch the about by Phil, because this brother here is actually talking. He actually, you know, is actually describing what has happened to the people since they've been in these internment camps. That's starting to get on my nerves. In these internment camps in Libya. Now, I want people to think about this for a second. Just, you don't have to agree with what I'm saying, but just bear with me. See, this is what I believe, right? Based on what I see in the world. See, our world, the people who control the ins and outs of the world, who control industry and finance and things like that, these people are fucking sociopaths and or psychopaths. They are. The world we live in, let's take America for instance, because the only reference point I have for how a society is structured and how an economy works and everything is America, because it's the only country I've ever lived in. And so far been to. But if you look at polls, people who are sociopaths and psychopaths actually exceed in big business. Heads of industry, leaders of industry, Fortune 500 companies, and this, that, and the third. These people actually excel in these industries. Why? Because when you are in the business world, you know, when you're playing the game like people who work in high income bracket type of jobs, like corporate, you know, like in a corporate world, you know, and things like that. Leaders of industry, even lawyers and things like that, especially lawyers. You know, you get paid to be a snake to be a lawyer, and if you were already born one, the fucking shoe fits, right? But think about it. These people, when you get into big business, people don't even fucking matter at this point. It's all about profit. When you have a multi-billion-dollar, multinational conglomerate with a board of directors and shit like that, people don't mean shit to you. It's about that dollar. And when you are a sociopath or a psychopath, you already don't give a fuck about people anyway. So, look at our country and look at all the major institutions in this country. There's scandal after scandal after scandal after scandal. Non-stop shit. In all the higher reaches of American society and economy. We live in a system that was designed for psychopaths to prevail. Now, take this analogy into play. Your parent, you are the child of a psychopath. The American people are the child of the American government. Let's just say that, just for argument's sake. Here's your mom and your dad or whatever, or just say your dad. Your dad's a crazy son of a bitch. But he justifies everything that he does to other people by making you believe that all the other people that he shits on deserved it because they were the bad guys. Think about it. I just finished watching the Khalid Browder story on Netflix. You guys should check that out. It was some deep shit. And it was real sad at the end, man. I'm not going to spoil it for y'all. But it was some deep shit, man. I kind of lost my train of thought thinking about that story, man. But, think about it. America, you tell people that everybody else is sick, everybody else is bad, right? Everybody else is wrong for what they do, and you're justified in shitting on them because of what they do. You want to sell other people your democracy, but that's why I brought up Khalid Browder. Look at what our democracy did to a brother like Khalid Browder. Look what our democracy and our judicial system, justice for all, justice is blind, and yada, yada, yada. Look at all the black people that have lost their lives at the hands of white supremacy and continue to do so. And the injustice in the legal system, the 18-to-1 racial disparity, redlining and all these different things where only select few people actually get justice and actually benefit from this democracy. It's a shitty system, but they want to instill that system into other countries. A system that doesn't work. Now, think about it. America is the most violent country on the fucking planet. Irrespective of what other images they show you of any other country anywhere else on the planet, America is the most violent. We have the largest prison population per capita than any place on earth. And this is the democracy that they want to sell other people on. How the fuck... seriously, what America is literally doing is taking cyanide, pouring a fucking half a pound of brown sugar in that shit, sprinkling some sprinkles on top and putting some whipped cream on it, dressing that shit up and telling you to drink it. Basically, that's basically what they're doing. They're putting fucking chocolate frosting on shit, on a pile of shit, and birthday candles and telling you to blow out the cake. That's basically what they're doing. They're wrapping up bullshit and selling it to you. Why would anybody buy into a democracy that has failed its people since its inception? American democracy is not really democracy at all if you really think about it, because it's unjust. How the fuck can it be a democratic system where everybody's free and so on and so forth, but we have a Voters' Right Act? We need to stand together. Black people. Black people. I don't give a fuck what country you come from. We, black people, need to stand together. We need to start to help each other, protect each other, be in defense of each other, you know? Support each other's organizations. You know, there are probably tons, or maybe not tons, there are probably plenty of organizations just around this country, America. Black organizations that are trying to start something up and give back. Find those people. Become a part of what they're trying to do. You know? What more can you say? What more can I say? Other than I am trying to do that myself because I see shit that's wrong and me and my partners want to do something about that. You know? We have a nice little network of individuals also who on their own time work to do what we want to come together and do as a unit. But we need to start supporting each other, man, because this is happening to our people all over the world. Our people are still being sold into slavery. And I'm going to just say this. If you are a black person and your feelings on this is, well, it's not me, who gives a fuck? Shoot yourself in the face, please. Just do that. And unsubscribe to my channel if you are subscribed, or just don't come back if you're not. But if that is the level of compassion that you have for people who look just like you, who are going through what we went through and still go through, then you're a piece of shit of a human being. And nobody should listen to anything that you say. But I just wanted to shed some more light on this story, man, because this kind of thing is heart-wrenching, you know. The people in these African nations are being forced from their homes, you know. They're being forced to leave. And if they don't leave, a lot of them are being forced into situations where they don't want to be. They're being murdered. I mean, it's horrible what's happening to the countries in Africa. And all these other nations of people are continuing to shit on Africa. Continuing to. While smiling in our faces and claiming to be our fucking friend. I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna end the video, because I say this shit in my real life, man. Who the fuck needs friendship? Is overrated. You know what I'm saying? Friendship is overrated. If you can't link up with like-minded individuals who want the same goals and outcomes that you do, why the fuck waste time with them? I'm not trying to be friends with anybody Korean who don't give a fuck about what's going on in Africa. I don't give a fuck about being your friend. Any Asian or any European or anybody for that matter, if you don't give a fuck about the plight of Africa, how the fuck can I take you seriously as a human being? Why would I want to be your friend? You don't care about my people as a whole. And if you're only singling me out as an individual, then there's something more to that than just you wanting to be my friend. You can't accept my whole race, you can only accept me as an individual. Then what the fuck do you really want from me? Really, what is it that you really want? Just to have the token black guy around? Fuck you. Anyway, we really need to help each other out, man. Go to Phil's video, check out the video. I mean, do a Google search on this, you know? I mean, check this shit out, man, because this is real, man. This is happening, and it's been happening for quite some time, and it has to stop. When does it end? When do our people get a fucking break on this planet? And remember, Christianity has told our people that salvation isn't for us in this life, because we're quote-unquote a cursed people. Salvation isn't for us. We gotta wait until we die to get salvation. I say fuck you on that one, on some real shit. Sorry if I stepped on any toes or hurt any feelings, but I say fuck that. Everybody else can get what they want in this life except us. I don't want to make any more enemies, and you know what? I don't give a fuck. Fuck that shit. That's a dumb ass. If you believe in anything that tells you that everybody else is deserving of peace and prosperity on this planet but you, set that shit on fire and don't have anything to do with that shit ever again.